Hey guys, welcome to Sports Talk at the Fire Rugby World Cup 2023. We nearly got our first, our first shocker, which was going to be France Uruguay. But France was just too professional, well conditioned for Uruguay. Uruguay made some couple of mistakes within their set pieces. The scrum wasn't going that well. Their lineout was going well, but they were unable to convert from their lineout. So they kept France in that game. I think France got their bigger shock because thus far, after beating the world number one squad, is this guy on? Okay, he's on. After beating the world number one, after beating the mighty All Blacks, because Ireland's world number one, they probably thought it was going to be smooth sailing. Nobody expected Uruguay to come out there and actually try and cause an upset. So big ups to Uruguay. I know Namibia is saying that they're targeting to beat Uruguay. I'm sitting there and I'm saying, yeah, but it looks like this could be a long death office for us. The way Uruguay played against France, it clearly shows that they're playing with passion and they're playing with some serious heart. And then the match of Namibia versus New Zealand, I didn't really expect any surprises here. I expected New Zealand to bounce back after their terrible start against France, where everybody's saying that their World Cup could be over. I knew that they were going to make a statement. 73, 71-3. That was the scoreline. New Zealand ran in so many tries. I even lost count of who was scoring. Lester Fainganuku, Caleb Clark, um, Rogard scored. It was literally everybody was having fun. Damon McKenzie scored. Everybody was just getting an opportunity. John Plummentry, when it went to the studio in Supersport, he was like, yeah, it was he said, what did he call it? He said it was a practice match for New Zealand. They were literally just running in try after try after try. And Namibia were kept in that game. I think New Zealand could have hit 100 points. Namibia were kept in that game because Mackenzie's boot was a bit misfiring, but overall it was an impeccable callback. Beside Ethan de Groot's no arms tackle, he needs to work on that. He might be cited. I believe he's probably getting cited for that and might have to go 10 tackling school like what Owen Farrell is going through. And then moving on to Pool B, which is now the pool where Ireland and South Africa are in. Ireland were bullish against Tonga. I honestly thought Tonga were going to give them a run for their money, but it wasn't to be. Tonga didn't turn up to that fight. Um, I honestly thought Tonga, with the likes of Charles Piatau, David Avili's little brother, who kicked most of Tonga's points from the boot, very, very good boot. Um, um, what is his name? Malakai Fikitao there in the centers. They were actually going to show some great stuff, but Ireland just went out there, was a bit shaken at the beginning, but later on just said, you know what, guys, let's do this. And they went out there and they steamrolled Tonga. They beat Tonga. They beat Tonga. We all thought Tonga were going to give them some sweaty times, but there were some sweaty times at the beginning. But overall, Ireland just went for broke and did what they're supposed to do as the table topping team in that group, because I felt that Ireland have had easy games thus far. South Africa versus Romania, one-sided. South Africa left Romania with zero. They made sure that they didn't allow Romania to score, which meant that their defense worked. The fact that they played so many scrum halves on their team, and um, Kobus Reinach, Kobus Reinach seems like he likes scoring hat tricks against small teams. He scored three tries. Mapimpi scored three tries. Makazola announcing himself to the world. Everybody has written him off. I know everybody's saying Curtly Aaron says the next in thing, or Kane Moody. Makazola's time is done. But he scored three tries and actually also contributed to Damien Willems's try, where he stepped through everybody and he scored that try. Damien Willems had a good game beside the missed kicks. I think he kicked five and he missed two. And then Faf came on at number 10. He kicked one. I think, he kicked two and he missed one or two again. He also missed a couple. And Faf played well at the number 10. It was quite interesting to see Faf actually just running and not having to go to the scrum. And it was quite interesting to see him run in the number 10. And I think he created Grant Williams' second try. His pass gave Grant Williams the space to run up. So Grant Williams scored a try. Also, Grant Williams scored two. So it was literally a fun day for the Boks. They got a penalty try. Fourie scored a try. They were having fun. They were having fun. I think Van Staden also scored a try. They were literally having a good day at the office. When they're happy that none of the players, there were no major injuries. Because already in the second half, you saw Jack made all the changes, brought Bongi off, brought Trevor off, brought Ox off. He brought Willemse off. He was bringing off half of the guys. Like, no, guys, you did your job. Let's come off. Reinach, you've scored your three tries. Come off. Let's not get anyone injured. We don't want injuries now. And shocking news, they actually, breaking news, it was announced they called Henry Pollard back into the squad, which was expected. Everybody were calling for it because Manny's boot didn't hasn't gone that well. Damian Willems, who's the second choice kicker, his boot hasn't gone that well. And then you had Faf, who's the third choice kicker, his boot is also not going that well. So they had to bring in a sniper, and that's Henry Pollard. But this Henry Pollard call up could be either a blessing or a curse for the Springboks because let's say um, Bongi gets injured in the Ireland game. Now you bring on Dion Fourie. Fourie now has to play a full, probably 80 as the starting, as the first choice hooker, which could be the blessing or a curse for the Box, like I said. But time will tell. Time will tell how that plays out. Let's move on to who else played. Let's Wales, Fiji. I mean, Wales, Portugal. I was quite shocked that Wales bossed that game. Wales bossed that game. They kept Portugal quiet for most of the game. There were some occasions, but when I watched that game and the scoreline will tell us that Wales won very well. But Portugal were in that game. There were some occasions where I thought Wales could have been more clinical. But it was quite interesting because the Wales hooker scored a couple of tries. Ruiz Emmett scored, did the Sue. He did the Sue. So it was hey, guys, the thing of Wales is Wales do not play that beautiful rugby. They play effective rugby, which is boring, but they score their points and they win games. That's all they care about is winning games. Because who wants to play expensive rugby if we can just win all our matches? And that's what they're doing, right? That's what Wales are doing. Wales are winning their matches and they're marching on. They're topping their log. They're topping their group. They're topping that group, and as it stands, they might qualify. I know the game against the game against who do you call this, guys? The game against Australia would be a big decider for Australia because Australia lost to Fiji in 96 years. I think it's in 96 years. This is the first time in a long while. Let me not mess up the years. It's the first time in a long while Australia get beaten by Fiji. I thought that Australia, when I picked this game, and I at the beginning spoke, I mean, not, I mean, when I spoke with some of my friends about it, I said Australia, all Australia need to do is calm it down, go to basics, scrum well, line outs well, maul well. I mean, line outs well, protect their maul, and get their big ball runners into that. But their big ball runners didn't have enough oomph to break the Fijian line. They were getting defended well. They breached the line, but Fiji were stealing ball. It seems like Fiji literally have lots of ball stealers on their team. It's not just the usual traditional numbers. Everybody can steal. You had their wingers stealing. You had their centers stealing. You had people were turning over. In Australia, we're not protecting their ball that well. There was the problem that I had there. Samoa, Chile. First off, I was wondering what's going on with Samoa. They are not being their bullish self. Chile is literally putting in tackles. Chile is literally putting them under pressure. But then second off, I think the coach probably reminded them, gents, you are Samoa, you're highly ranked in this team. Do what you can. And they won that game. Currently now in their group, no, wait. Currently now in their group, it's England. They're in Group D. England is leading that group. Samoa is second. Then you have Japan third because Japan got beaten by England. Japan and Argentina are the two teams for me that are disappointing so far in this World Cup. It seems like they're fallen off so badly. You would have expected them to be a bit better, but hey, they were literally bossed around by England. England won that game 34-12. Japan had 12. Australia lost their game to Fiji 22-15. South Africa beat Romania 76-0. Ireland beat Tonga 59-16. I thought Tonga would have done a bit better, probably given Ireland a better test, but it seems like it wasn't meant to be. Um, Wales 28, Portugal 8. This is what I'm saying. I thought Wales should have won that game with a bigger score margin, but the Portuguese were quite good. They were competitive. They literally um, stuck it to the Wales. They didn't sit back. Samoa won their game 34-10. New Zealand beat Namibia 71-3. France beat Uruguay 27-12. And Uruguay almost won that game, by the way. Then okay, that's now going to the beginning, and then we have Italy, Uruguay, which I expect Italy to beat Uruguay because Italy are pushing to qualify in that group, and Italy in a group with New Zealand. So Italy want to qualify and actually go a bit further in this Rugby World Cup. Then you have France, Namibia on the 21st, Italy, Uruguay 20th, France, Namibia 21st, Argentina 22nd. So this France Namibia is going to be one-sided. Argentina Samoa is a big game because Samoa is second in their group. If Argentina can beat Samoa, it opens the door up, and then you'll have what is this other team now? Japan will have to try and beat. I think who's Japan playing? Okay, yeah, okay. Japan's gonna have a bye, so it's gonna be interesting times in this Rugby World Cup because the pools are wide open. Beside the South African Argentina pool, which I think that one is already, I mean, South Africa Ireland pool, it can still go either way because both South Africa and Ireland haven't lost. So now this coming weekend's game against South Africa Ireland, that's the big one. Because if South Africa end up losing there, they might have to either face a French side, and Ireland will face New Zealand if New Zealand do qualify for their group. But as I said, Italy is still pressing to try and qualify. So it's still interesting times at the Rugby World Cup. The injuries are starting to pile up. You had Will Skelton going down for the Wallabies. He They named him in the initial side, but he got injured, so they had to pull him out and they had to put Nick Frost in there. And you had Tongan Thor. Um, yeah, the Tongan Thor going down. They had to literally pull him out and throw James Slipper in there. So it's interesting times. For Eddie Jones, it's going to be a headache because if he cannot get this team to play well against Wales and beat Wales, they could be out of this Rugby World Cup. They could be already booking their ticket back to Australia as it stands. It doesn't look good for them. Japan and Argentina, in my opinion, when I looked at this Rugby World Cup leading up to it, and after all the warm up matches, and England didn't have a good warm up match, I was backing Japan to be the team to go through. And from Japan or Argentina, the two of them to be the two teams to qualify. But as it looks right now, they both might not qualify, and it might be England and Samoa, and then it would be Wales, Fiji, and then it would be South Africa, Ireland, and then you have France, probably New Zealand or Italy. But as I said, Italy have to play Uruguay, and I'm sure they're going to beat Uruguay. It's probably going to be a good victory for Italy. But then it takes it down to that game where Italy meet France and meet New Zealand. Those will be big games for them because they can't afford to fuff that up. So it's interesting times at the Rugby World Cup, and the injuries are piling up. I'm still interested to see who Eddie Jones will call up, probably for replacement for Will Skelton to come and be the replacement. Will he be picking up the phone and calling James O'Connor, or will he be calling Quade Cooper because they need some of that experience, or is he just going to do the typical Eddie Jones thing and call some youngster and back him? Because everybody's stressed. As it stands now, Australia could be going home leading up to this game against Wales. If they lose to Wales, it's done. Rugby World Cup 23 is done. Then they have to look at it if it's a success or was it a failure. But that's all I have to say on the Rugby World Cup. That's my that's my just overview of what happened this past weekend. With that said, I just want to remind everybody to hit that like and hit that subscribe button. And I just want to say bye for now.